I work with African Wood Incorporated in Wilmington, Delaware. We are consultants in organization structure, organization behavior, entrepreneurship, and human capital development. Today we're continuing on our series of doing right things as opposed to doing things right. And this is in ethics and decision making. When leaders have to make choices, make decisions, and do trade-offs. This is our third video in this series. We have done the first video, the part 1 and part 2. We ended up at a break. We shall go directly to the break where we left, so that we can continue. Just to recap, we said in the first video that for ages, leaders have wondered not only about what they might do when confronted with particular troublesome dilemmas, but also struggled to do what they believe and hope is right. And in ethics, we try to provide a framework through which they can make decisions, they can process the decisions so that they can rest assured that they are doing the right things. We covered all this. We can go to part 1 and part 2 and see. We will move ahead and go to the first break, and then go to the second break. I'm just rolling through this so that you can know what we covered in the previous videos, and you can go to look for them so that you can see what we did. But we will roll down and find the break here. This is the break that we stopped at. We just dealt with Aristotle's statement that it's not so much what leaders do, but it's why they do it. Why the motive that makes them do the things they do, that's more important. The quality of character that is revealed. And his statement that this not that doing right is not for everyone, that's not easy. For goodness is both rare and laudable. So we, in ethical decision making, seek that leaders be good, that what they do be good for society. So we are now going to deal with the 7 ethical virtues that Aristotle said. The first virtue is courage, then anger, then liberality, then truth, indignation, magnificence, and pride. So we'll deal with one of them one by one. Courage is the quality of being fearless or brave when facing and dealing with anything recognized as dangerous, difficult, or painful. Dangerous, difficult, or painful, or a combination of the three. If somebody is how you deal, if you deal fearlessly with something which is recognized as being dangerous, difficult, or painful, then you are courageous. Liberality is the noble quality whereby one is generous in thought and evidence the absence of prejudice and partiality when considering substantial matters. That you deal with matters without prejudice and partiality. Okay? And you are generous in thought. You give everybody a chance. then you are liberal. Magnificence, the condition or quality of grandeur, splendor, and glory, uplifting the human spirit. You uplift the human spirit. That's good. Pride, the quality, state, and behavior of evidencing an accurate perception of one's dignity and worth. The quality, state, and behavior of evidencing an accurate perception of one's dignity or worth and worth. Anger, the feeling engendered by a real or supposed injury for which one seeks satisfaction. The feeling engendered by a real or supposed injury for which one seeks satisfaction is anger. You are angry when you are engaged by something real or supposed injury. You may not really be injured, but you may feel injured. But you are seeking satisfaction. Truth, the quality or state of sincerity, genuineness, honesty, trustworthiness, and loyalty emerging when one acts in accordance with verified experience, facts, or reality. Verified experience, facts, or reality. Indignation, the contempt, disgust, and abhorrence caused by the disapproval of something mean, disgraceful, and unjust. Indignation, the contempt, disgust, and abhorrence caused by the disapproval of something mean, disgraceful, or unjust. Aristotle theory of golden mean. A virtue is a mean, delicate to achieve. A virtue is a mean, is in the middle, and it's delicate to achieve. You found somewhere between an excess, a positive vice, or a deficiency, a negative vice. So, the virtues we consider above are means. They are in the middle. They are found somewhere between an excess, which is a positive vice, or a deficiency, which is a negative vice, which reflects the truth character of a person making the decision. So let's talk about a little virtue. Let's talk about courage first. Courage is a virtue, and it's between fear, which is a defect, and confidence, which is an excess. Okay? The virtue is courage. The vices are fear and confidence. Confidence is the excess vice, while fear is the defect. If you are afraid, that's effective. If you are confident, it's excess of courage. A virtuous person is in the middle. You will be courageous. Courage then is virtuous when it is a practical judgment of the intellectual aim, the defect of a paralyzing fear, and the excess of exuberant confidence are balanced as leaders acting rightly. See? Courage in the middle, fear on one side, courage on the other, or confidence on the other side. Liberality is a virtue, a golden mean, between frugality, which is an excess, and meanness, which is a defect. Liberty then is a virtuous when it is a practical judgment of the intellect, wherein the defect of meanness and the excess of prodigality are balanced as leaders act rightly. Magnificence is a golden mean between vulgarity, which is an excess, and meagre-tidiness, which is a defect. Magnificence then is virtuous when it's proper judgment of the intellect, wherein the defect of meagreness and the excess of vulgarity are balanced as leaders act rightly. Pride. Pride is a golden mean, is a virtue and a golden mean. It's between humility and vanity. Vanity is a defect. Humility is a defect, and vanity is an excess. Vanity is an excess. Pride is the golden mean. Humility is a defect. Pride then is virtuous when it is a practical judgment of the intellect, wherein the defect of humility and the excess of vanity are balanced as leaders act rightly. Anger. Anger is a golden mean, is a virtue. It's between equanimity, which is a defect, and irritability, which is an excess. Anger then is virtuous when it is a practical judgment of the intellect, wherein the defect of equanimity and the excess of irritability are balanced as leaders act rightly. Virtue of truth. As a virtue, a golden truth, a golden mean. The truth is a mean between modesty, which is a defect, and boasting, which is an excess. I must say this: when modesty is combined with humility, both defects, it creates a very difficult situation. I've always been talking about that. I think that Africans tend to combine humility and modesty and not tell their story. And both of them are defects. They just, in a situation where you think you have to go, you just tell the truth. If you got something right, you got something right. Truth then is virtuous when it's a practical judgment of the intellect, wherein the defect of modesty and the excess of envy are balanced as managers act rightly. The virtue of indignation. Indignation is a golden mean between the spite, which is a defect, and envy, which is that one, which is a defect. Okay, we considered all the virtues, and we'll take a break here so that we can be able to think about the virtues and the defects and excesses between which they lie. It's important for leaders to know to avoid the defects and to check the excesses, so they remain in the middle where the virtue lies. Thank you very much. This is Dr. David Frederick Amakobe. I work for African Incorporated. On this channel, I talk about the impact of individuals, groups, structures, and processes have on behavior within organizations. And in this series of videos on doing things right, doing right things, we are talking about how to make decisions ethically that will make the leader good. And this is a break for our third video. We will come back to complete the series. Thank you very much, and you consider the virtues and take note of the defects and excesses between which the virtues lie.